So this is the video lecture for section 10.3. And so in this section, we're going to do linear equations, we're going to clear fractions, and also decimals. And so the first one is 6x minus 3/4 is equal to 1/3. So you're going to have to multiply, find a value that's a multiple of 6, 4, and 3. So one of the ways that you can do is you can do 6 times 4. It's going to give you 24. 6 times 3, it's going to give you 18. 4 times 3 is going to give you 12. And so we know that 6 or 12 is a multiple of 6. So therefore, if I multiply everything by 12, I'm going to be able to clear the fractions. So remember, if I'm going to do 5 over 6 times 12, that's really 12 over 1. So I can go ahead and say 6 into 6 is 1 time, 6 into 12 is 2 times, which is 10 over 1, which is just 10. That's how you clear those out. So then this becomes 10x. Same thing on the other side, right? I have 3 over 4. 4 goes into 4 1 time, goes into 12 3 times. So that's 9 over 1, which is going to be 9. And then the same thing here, right? I do 1/3 times 12 over 1. That's a 1, that's a 4, that's 4 over 1, which is going to be 4. So now I'm going to add the 9, right? Because it just becomes a nice linear equation with no fractions. So 10x is equal to 13. And if I divide both sides by 10, I get x is equal to 13 over 10. And so that's how you do the first one. And so here's the same thing, right? So I know that, in this case, I know that 10 is a multiple of 2 and a multiple of 5. So I'm just going to multiply everything by 10. Sometimes it's that easy for you to do. So 2 over 5, 10 over 1, right? 5 into 5 is 1 time, into 10 is twice, 2 times 2 is 4. So it's going to be 4y. Now 10 times 1/2 is just 5, right? So if I do 1/2, so 10 over 2, if I do it this way, kind of a little easier for you guys to see, that's going to be 5. Then negative 7 over 10 times 10 over 1, it's going to be negative 7 over 1, which is just negative 7 because the 10s are going to cancel out, right? So it's going to be negative 7. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, so 4y is equal to negative 12. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I get y is equal to negative 3. So that's how you do those there. Looking at this one again, I have 6, 3, and 5. So I'm looking for a multiple or value that's divisible by all three, right? So 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 5 is 30. And then I know that 3 divides 30 evenly, right? So 30 is a multiple of 3. So I'm going to multiply everything by 30. And so if I do 1 over 6 times 30 over 1, that's going to be 1, that's going to be 5, so that's going to be a 5. So that's going to be 5x. 2/3 times 30 over 1, 3 into 3 is 1 time, that's going to be 10. 20 over 1, that's going to be my 20, right? And if I do 1 over 5, 30 over 1, 5 into 5 is 1 time, into 30 is 6, 6 over 1, that's going to be a 6x minus 30, right? So I multiply the 30 times every single one of the terms inside the parentheses that I created. So here I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides, so it's going to be negative 20 is equal to x minus 30. I'm going to add 30 to both sides, and I get x is equal to 10. So it's just a matter of clearing those fractions, finding a multiple. It has to divide it evenly, so it has to be a multiple of the denominators, or otherwise it's not going to work. So this one, we can do this one several ways. So we know 3 and 2 is equal to 6. So I can multiply everything by 6. I can leave it the way it is. Multiply everything by 6. So if I do 6 times 1/3, it's going to be 2, right? So then this is going to be 2 times x plus 7. And then 1/2 times 6 over 1 is just going to be 3 over 1, which is going to be 3. So x plus 1, and then 6 times 4 is 24. So that's one way to clear the fractions quickly. And then I got to do the distributive property on both of these. So it's going to be 2x plus 14 is, oops, not equal. Minus 3x minus 3 is equal to 24. I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms, which is negative x. 2x minus 3x is negative x. 14 minus 3 is 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. So negative x is equal to 13. And x is equal to negative 13 because I have to multiply both sides by negative 1 because my final variable cannot be negative. So x is equal to negative 13. For this particular problem. All right, let's move on to this one. Here, again, we know that 5 times 2 is equal to 10, so I can multiply all of the terms here by 10. So what happens is that this is the same thing as this, right? So I want you guys to understand that. So that's the same thing. So this is similar to the problem that we did before where we multiplied everything by 10, right? So if I do it this way, you're going to see what's going to happen, right? So 10 times 1/5 is going to be 2. Then 10 times 1/2 is going to be 5. And then 10 times 2 is going to be 20. So I do this derivative property, so it's 2x minus 4, negative 5x plus 20 is equal to 20, right? Combine like terms, so 2x minus 5x is negative 3x. Negative 4 plus 20 is going to be a positive 16. Subtract the 16 from both sides. So I get 4, and then I divide both sides, and I get negative 4/3. So you double check it again. If we do it here, if I do it this way, right? So it's going to be, again, 10 over 5 is going to be 2 times, right? So it's going to be the same thing. So that's going to be 5x minus 4 is equal to 20. So same thing that we ended up with right here. We can do it both ways. So this problem here, we got 4 and 6, which is 24. But the nice thing about it is that we know that 12 is also a multiple of 4 and a multiple of 6. So we can go a little smaller, and we don't have to go so large with the 24. So remember, this is going to be this, right? This is the same thing as the problem that we have in front of us. So if I multiply everything by 12, so 12 times 1 is 12. 12 divided by 4 is going to be 3. And then 12 times 1 is 12 over 6 is going to be 2. And then 12 times 1 is 12. Now I do this derivative property, which is going to be 3x plus 3 plus 2x plus 4 is equal to 12. Combine like terms. 3x plus 2x is 5x. 3 plus 4 is 7. We're going to subtract the 7 from both sides, which is going to give me 5, and x is equal to 1. And so that is your answer for this particular problem. So here we're going to do containing decimals. We're going to clear the decimals. Now, if I have one decimal place, that's a tenth, right? Which means that I can multiply everything by 10 to clear out those decimals. Depending on the decimals, the number of decimal places that it has, that's what you're going to multiply it by. So if I do 2.5 times 10, I get 25. So that's 25x plus 30, is equal to 17x minus 66, right? So 6.6 times 10 is 66. So now I'm going to subtract the 17x from both sides. And so there I'm going to get 8x plus 30 is equal to negative 66. Now negative 66 minus 30 is negative 96. So it's 8x is equal to negative 96. And then if I divide that by 8, I get x is equal to negative 12. And so that's how you do this particular question. So remember, decimal places. If I would have had 2 decimal places, then I multiply by 100. If I have 3, I multiply by 1,000, and so on and so on. All right. So here again, we can go ahead and clear these decimals. Now, since we have 2 decimal places, I'm going to have to multiply by 100 because I have to clear those decimals, right? So if I do 0.2 times 100, I get 20. So it's 20x plus 4. And then if I do 0.45 times 100, I get 45. And then, of course, 12 times 100 is going to give you 1200, right? So let's distribute this. There's going to be 12x plus 80 minus 45x minus 405, and that's 1200, right? So negative 45 times 9 is negative 405. Let's go ahead and combine like terms. So 20x minus 45x is negative 25x. So 80 minus 405 is negative 325. So I'm going to add the 325. The only problem when you do this is that you end up with some larger values, but I mean, it's still the same thing, right? So 1200 plus 325 is 1525. And if I divide that by 25 or negative 25, I get negative 61 for this particular answer. All right, and so that is it for 10.3. Thank you.